Welcome to the Two Blokes Chatting radio show on 94.7 The Pulse. Music, interviews, news, and, well, Two Blokes Chatting. Now, here are the two blokes.
'Cause I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere, man. Across the deserts bare, man. I've breathed the mountain air, man. I've travelled, I've had my share, man. I've been everywhere. Been to Tullamore, Seymour, Lismore, Mooloolaba, Nambour, Roochdore, Kilmore, Marillaba, Birdsville, Emmaville, Wallaville, Connemara, Connemara, Strathround, Proserpine, Ulladulla, Darwin, Gingin, Lilliquin, Muckdilla, Wallumbilla, Bougainville, Cumberland, Ramakilla. I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere, man.
One of these days, we're going to stumble over a name in that list of towns he's been to. We'll go, actually, that's where we're going to now. We are going to Tanunda, where we find Angela. Hello, Angela. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, Neil. Hi, Rob. How are you?
We are doing very, very well indeed. And if I turn Rob's microphone up, he'll be able to say the same thing.
Good morning again, Angela. Welcome to our chatting show, all the way from the beautiful Tanunda in north of Adelaide in South Australia.
Thank you for having me.
And you know the really funny thing, I'm going to drop Rob under the bus here. Beautiful Tanunda. He asked you where Tanunda was. He's never been there in his born days.
Yeah, and I got it mixed up with another name that I read, and it doesn't sound like it. I mean, they don't say it like it sounds like over there. I can't remember where it is.
Port Lincoln?
No, don't be stupid. It's in that neck of the woods.
Nuriotpa, Kapunda. Kapunda just up the road.
Yeah, there's another one. There's a lot of funny little names in there. Anguston, of course, is we would know over here, the famous Hayes family.
Did Glenn Campbell have a song about Anguston?
No, that was that other...
Galveston,
yeah, you idiot.
Angela, the point of Regional Roundup, apart from making fun of the town names...
Is there a point to this?
There's a point to this. Is we love talking to people who live in regional locations. I think it's fair to say that you and I have already done that in the context of a podcast that I think is released this week. He said, just dropping in a shameless plug for the Regional 250. But, it's just nice to chat to people where they live and tell us a bit about their town and what they do and all that kind of stuff. So tell us a bit about Tanunda.
Well, Tanunda's a lovely bit. So as I was saying, I said to Rob earlier, we're about an hour from Adelaide, which gives us the best of both worlds because obviously we're in a beautiful historic wine region, but with beautiful landscape, lots of great food as well. But we're also close enough to Adelaide, so, we can still make the most of all the great things that Adelaide has to offer at various times of the year. I moved here about 8 years ago. I'm a bit of a blow-in, but, really have found a place that we're very, very, very happy to call home, even on a wet, cold, rainy August day.
If only that were the case. Of course, it wouldn't be sunny and warm, I would have thought that day. So 8 years in the town, another 22 years, you'll be considered almost local?
Yeah, I think you have to have someone in the ground first.
Now, that industry, the wine industry, it's one of those... when you go to a winery, it doesn't matter what time of the year. And I reckon actually particularly in the winter... when you go into those old buildings with the open fire, it's just a beautiful place to be as you stare out into the misty rain or the fog outside. Wineries, open fire, conversation, good place to be.
Good place to be, and especially this time of the year, I guess that's it. And, one of the things I like about, this time of the year, there's not much activity really.
No tourists, is what you mean, isn't it?
They're all being pruned. Everything's a bit, the vines are a bit brown. They're not really pretty to look at. But what you do find is the hills are beautiful and green. There's a lot of ground cover underneath the vines. So it is still a beautiful time to sort of sit and obviously, as you say, open fire, good glass of red, good conversation, good local platter of, all the deliciousness that we have here, influenced by the German heritage. And, there's always something to do. It doesn't matter what time of the year really it is. So.
And you talk of being an hour out of the centre of Adelaide. If I was going to Gippsland in eastern Victoria and I was an hour out of the city, I'd be 2/3 of the way to the edge of town. How far out between the edge of Adelaide and the edge of where what we over here just think of the Barossa Valley, how much rurality is there between the edge of Adelaide and where you are?
Look, there's probably about half an hour there's a lot of, on the outskirts of Adelaide, there's a lot of market gardens and, there's still farming areas. But, it's only 60 k's, so, I guess that's the good thing, and we've got a fabulous freeway connecting us now, so I can pretty much drive into Adelaide with one set of traffic lights, which, is a pretty nice, easy drive, not in traffic, which is one of the best things about being here. But, still drive through, everything from almond groves to market gardens to vineyards and, orchards and all sorts of things. So, we are spoilt. So I was at our Barossa Farmers Market this morning picking up fresh apples and bread and pork and all sorts of great things that I know have only, been grown or produced, around the corner essentially.
Angela, the wine industry's taken a little bit of a double whack with COVID reducing tourist activity, but also the decision by China to stop importing or putting large tariffs on Australian wine, so it's affected the winemakers in general. On the back of that, what's the spirit like around the industry?
Look, I think there's enough. I mean, I think the industry here is so well established that they've been through, trying times before, and there's no doubt that it's frustrating, I guess. But, we've also had some years of, pretty low production due to drought and things like that. So at least we've had some good weather. We've had some good production. We've got a very, very active group called Barossa Australia, who are our tourism and wine arm, really trying now, I guess, to look for other opportunities and making the most now of being able to get out there and travel again. So, and trying to make sure, there's a lot of wineries, I guess, that always went, let's look at all the other options. Let's not put all our, eggs in one basket, so to speak.
Or grapes in one bottle.
Happening. Yeah, grapes in one bottle, exactly. But I think the other thing that's exciting, we're starting to see some tourists coming back into the Barossa and starting to travel again, which, is really valuable, not just for our wineries, but for our, retail stores on the main street, for our restaurants. That's going to be important. And obviously come vintage time at the beginning of the year, being able to get those, backpackers and travellers who are such a crucial part of the vintage workforce back into the Barossa, I think will be good as well. So I think, there's some frustration, but I think there's an air of positivity. But I think there's also just that, we've been here before, and there's a generous spirit in the community of everyone looking out for themselves and looking out for everyone else as well.
Great segue to my next question about staffing for wineries at certain times of the year. Two key times around, obviously picking and trimming the hedges. What do they call that again? Pruning, that's it, yeah. So has that been affected so far, and are you confident that you'll get that mobile workforce back?
I think so. I mean, I think it has been. I think there were a couple of, there were a couple of years. I think we got through in 2020. We were very lucky. We sort of just got through that vintage before anything, really happened. I think the last two have been a bit trickier, but I think most people seem to be confident, that it's certainly a great opportunity, and certainly more than enough work here for anyone, that wants to come to the Barossa and experience a vintage, which, is something that's a bit of a rite of passage for a lot of our, younger people in the Barossa. They might take a year off before they go to uni or go away to travel themselves, or, then go overseas and do a vintage. It's a great opportunity, and it does add a buzz to the town. Even just our local supermarket, you can tell when it's vintage time because you start hearing all these different accents around. So, yeah, I think there is, a sense of positivity, and I think people are looking forward to, what the next year holds. And obviously, we've had a lot of rain recently, so at the right time of the year. So I think our grape growers are pretty positive that, we finally, after some pretty dry years, we should be looking at some really good vintages as well.
I think the other thing too, Angela, is that certainly along the Great Ocean Road, I was talking to someone who's a business owner on the Great Ocean Road last week, and she was saying that one of the problems is not so much getting the staff, but finding affordable accommodation for them. And I would have thought that with COVID, there'd be people who've gone, what, I don't need to live in Adelaide anymore. I can go and live in beautiful Tanunda. And I have been there, so I can call it beautiful Tanunda. Is there a sense that because people have moved up there, rentals are a bit harder to get and or a bit more expensive to get for people who are coming through town?
Yeah, definitely. I think that's been an issue, across regional Australia. I was in Orange in May, and they were having the same conversation. So there certainly has been, an influx. I think, something that I guess I embraced 8 years ago, and realising that I could, live and run a business in a regional town. I think a lot of other people, one of the good things that came out of COVID was people realised that you could operate. You didn't have to be in a city. You could actually, live in a regional centre and either, work for a company or run your own business or whatever. So there has been, there is a shortage probably of accommodation, and that's probably, that's something that there's a pretty big focus on. But I think that's where a lot of the wineries will look at opportunities, whether they've got houses that they can rent out or, billet people to other people, so that they actually do have enough people, because that has been the challenge.
Yeah.
Is actually having enough housing in regional areas, I think.
Well, here's a community service announcement before I let you go. You went to Orange in May. Do not go to Orange after May or before September, because you will freeze your you-know-what's off, because it's always a very, very cold place, but a beautiful place nonetheless.
It is, and I think I actually got there the week after I was there, they had snow, so I was there at just the right time.
Absolutely. Angela, thank you for taking some time out of your Saturday morning to join the Two Blokes Chatting radio show. Rob's gone in next door because he does the next program as well, so it's for me to finish it off. Angela Pickett in Tanunda in South Australia, thanks for joining us and have a good Saturday.
Thank you very much. I'm off to take my boys to hockey.
Nice, excellent. Well, make sure they got their mouth guards.
Yeah, definitely.
Thanks, Angela. See ya.